Everyone, you clicked on that thumbnail because you want to know what bike I used to win my third Silk Road mountain race. And so here it is, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Maybe you do, maybe you don't know, but my first time riding the Silk Road mountain race, I used a fully rigid mountain bike. My second time, I used a hardtail. And for my third time, I went with a full suspension mountain bike. The bike is a Vitus Rapide full suspension with a 100mm travel Rockshox Sid fork. The suspension at the back is Sid as well, Rockshox, with 40mm of travel. René Fleecer Ridge tires. These are 55mm wide. They're crazy fast and also rather light. And I paired them with my preferred Hunt carbon proven wheels. 28 spokes. On the front I had a dynamo. This is a Sun dynamo, which is pretty much the gold standard. You can do any better than Sun. And the dynamo is wired to my front light, Supernova M9100 Pro, which is an incredibly bright front light. It goes all the way to the taillight. Tiny, but it's extremely bright. It's the E3 taillight by Supernova as well. And to power this full suspension mountain bike, I was using pretty much the gold standard of mountain bike group set, Shimano XT. The crankset was 30 teeth because it can be quite steep in Kyrgyzstan, and it's also super rough, so you definitely need that granny gear. The cassette is 12 speed, 10-51, 30-51 ratio allowed me to climb. I'm not going to say everything because Silk Road being what it is, there's a fair amount of hiking. But yeah, if it was rideable, I could ride it. Derailleur is XT as well. It's a little bit banged up from my crash at the beginning of the race. Levers, XT, shifters, calipers. For my pedals, I go with XTR. I don't usually believe that XTR is worth spending the extra money for bikepacking, because bikepacking, you're gonna wreck your gear. So spending crazy amounts of money on a really nice derailleur and then just banging it all over Kyrgyzstan, not something that I would do. But XTR pedals, they're worth every buck. They're really good. I mean, look at that, how they spin. Really nice. So I'm really happy with these pedals. I chose to go with the 180mm rotors just to have better stopping power. Also, the heat dissipates better on bigger rotors. It's great for nice long downhills. Some of the downhills in Kyrgyzstan are like 40 kilometers long, so it's great to have really good heat dissipation from these 180mm rotors. As far as finishing kit goes, full carbon seat post by Niner. This one is supposed to be fairly comfortable. I've had it for a few years actually. My preferred Fizik Alpaca saddle works all the time for me, so why change it? Also went with carbon bars because it's better filtration of the vibrations. I had a nice Ritchey stem. This one's pretty short at 80mm. And I had my Pro aerobars. These are full carbon, pretty light, fairly comfortable. I damaged them a little bit when I crashed at the beginning of the race. For navigation, I used a Garmin 1040 Solar. If you've checked my other videos, you know that I spent a long time riding with the Hammerhead Karoo 2. I switched to Garmin because of the battery life. Honestly, wow, just amazed by the battery life of the Garmin 1040 Solar. It was absolutely crazy. I could ride 48 hours straight without charging the unit, which honestly is just a game changer when you're in a country like Kyrgyzstan where it's really hard to charge stuff because very few hotels, sometimes you sleep indoors, but it's just your camp, so there's no electricity. So having the Garmin 1040 Solar was just like so much peace of mind for me, and it worked like a charm. So super happy to have brought this unit to Kyrgyzstan. I know it's really hard to find a good pump. I've been struggling for several years. This one, the Topeak Mountain DA, I'm really happy about it. It was my first time using it, so I don't know if it's durable. I don't know how long I'm gonna keep it, but for now, it works like a charm, pumps up my tire really fast, so I was really happy about this one. All of my bags, as usual, by Miss Grape. I chose to go with Cluster 7, so that's a 7-liter saddle pack. I had this long top tube bag, which was great for all my electronics, my power banks, my cables, everything. Custom made frame bag, and it's not just for me that they make frame bags. If you want a frame bag as well, you just send them the picture of your bike and they will make you a custom frame bag as well. I had 2 food pouches because I need to carry a lot of food, and also I had a front bag. They're brand new Coso, so it's basically a 3D printed front bag holder that will make sure that, first of all, your bag is always very stable at all time, and if it's stable down these really rough downhills of Kyrgyzstan, it's gonna be stable everywhere. And also, just make sure that it leaves enough room between your head tube and the front bag so that all your cables can just, be there and you'll have a little bit of wiggle room, which is pretty important. That was my setup for Silk Road Mountain Race, and it turned out to be a pretty good one. The question is, what are the pros and cons of a full suspension bike on a bikepacking race such as the Silk Road Mountain Race? Well, the cons, you can say it's the weight. Full suspension mountain bike is going to be a little bit heavier than a hardtail. It's not going to make like a huge difference, but yeah, still, it's probably going to be, 500 grams, maybe a kilo heavier. So it's something that you got to bring up these climbs. The second con for me is maintenance. You have more maintenance on a full suspension bike than on a hardtail, and also you have more maintenance on a hardtail than a fully rigid. These full suspension mountain bikes are not designed in the first place for bikepack races, so you need to check them before and after the race to make sure that all the bearings are okay, and it's the same for the shock, the rear shock, and the front suspension. But on the other hand, they're super comfy. So basically you're going to be able to spend more time on the saddle and being less fatigued. Especially that rear shock is going to make that ride much smoother on the saddle, which means that it's going to cause less damage to your seat bones, to your seating area. If you've raced ultra, you know that damage to your precious bum is something that happens and something that can slow you down, and especially in a race like Silk Road where it's not easy to find places where you can shower, it's not easy to stay indoors, so it's not easy to take care of your little butt. Having less damage inflicted on the pretty soft skin of your bum is a good thing. In the end, should you go with a full suspension or hardtail? Honestly, it's a tough one. Definitely, it's gonna be more comfy on a full suspension. I don't think that you're gonna be much faster. It is not needed, and the thing is, why is it not needed? Because pretty much all of the Silk Road Mountain Race is double track. There's very little single track. It's not technical, so having that squish is not gonna make a tremendous difference. But yeah, it's just a matter of preference. I actually really enjoyed having that extra comfort, but I don't think I was much faster. Basically what I would say is that if that's what you got, full suspension, and if you trust it and if you want to go with it, definitely you can do it. You can do it. There's benefits to it. Don't hesitate. But if you're on the fence and feel like maybe you just have a gravel bike and you want to start, you're thinking of buying a mountain bike for a bikepacking race, a hardtail would be a bike that you would have more used to it and that would need less maintenance. So Again, I'm not gonna say that you absolutely need a full suspension mountain bike for a Silk Road mountain race. It's nice to have one, but yeah, if you just hover hardtail, it's also just a really good option. Again, like I said in my previous video, I don't recommend a gravel bike. I don't recommend fully rigid. But yeah, the most important for me for the Silk Road mountain race is having that front suspension. Anyway, so that was my 2 cents about racing full suspension for my third victory on the Silk Road mountain race. Thanks for watching this video. Thanks for this shop, which is called Pédale Douce in Paris near the Métro République, for just allowing us to shoot here. And stay tuned for more content on my channel, whether it's about Silk Road mountain race or other races. Cheers, bye.